Amy Smith here from Skillspace and the Build Your Biz podcast. I'm bringing you a special episode in honor of Valentine's Day. I'm going to be featuring different couples and showing you how they support each other and work together if one or both of them is a webpreneur like you or me. So that's staying at home, whether it's as a VA or as a designer or just a really awesome boss of their own company. So here you go. I hope you enjoy and find some inspiration.
Hi, my name's Thom.
I'm Amanda.
And we are Thankful Cow Solutions.
We are a business partnership providing social media solutions for small business owners. And we're getting into high-end social media strategy for small restaurants and coffee shops.
Yep. And personally, we've been together for a long time. 6.5 years.
That's the number.
That's the number right there.
That is the number.
I still remember it.
You better.
Yeah.
And we've been in partnership officially for 6 months with Thankful Cow Solutions. Yeah. So we kind of took the jump into self-employment together. We both left our 9-to-5s, quote 9-to-5s, there's my fingers, on the same day. And then we started full-time with Thankful Cow the following Monday.
Yeah, so it's been really a lead up to the jump. We were both feeling the kind of same miseries with the grind, and we just got to a stage where we wanted to try something different. We wanted to try something new and try and achieve something, and it just so happened that it happened at the same time. Really, we just aligned it up, and we decided, hey, two heads are better than one. We'll go at this together. And I don't know, I guess we didn't really think about how that would impact our relationship.
I don't really know that it has. I actually think it's maybe made our relationship stronger.
Yeah, I know that. It's something you didn't really take into consideration when you were like making that jump. You're like, oh, this is like the person I spend all my time with. Now I'm going to be working with this person as well.
Yeah, I suppose. But like for the last while there of our working lives, we weren't spending that much time together.
That's true.
Our schedules, I was doing a lot of late shifts on Thursday, Fridays. I was working a lot of weekends, and so Thom and I actually didn't really see each other that much, and now we spend every waking minute together.
I know, it's a total reverse from what we've been used to, but it's been a nice change. Not without its challenges.
No, we've certainly had challenges.
Yeah, I think it's finding that balance of life and business, because it's easy to have a discussion about business and maybe you don't have an agreement on something, and it's about finding a way to separate that from personal life as well. And I think we're trying to figure that out, not just between ourselves, but also when we're dealing maybe with clients as well. Just sometimes it's easy to maybe take something personally when it is a business decision or it's a business aspect. And I think because I'm going ahead and say that we wear our hearts on our sleeves. And
yeah, we do.
We can take things personally when it's not meant to be taken personally. And I think that's probably one of our biggest challenges, I would say, is to not feeling things so forceful when it is something to do with business. But again, you're trying to maintain that aspect of yourself in your work. So I think that's been tricky, but I definitely think we're slowly but surely managing to achieve that.
Definitely. I think one of our biggest challenges scheduling our time like between the business and the home was when we were traveling for a few months. We were staying with my parents as well, and we worked all the time. We weren't a couple or a family at all for about 2 months, and it was a mistake.
Yeah, it was
a learning curve.
Yeah, it was our first kind of time hitting the road and taking the laptops and I think because it's the early stages of your business, it's easy to get caught up in everything you should be doing, what you haven't done yet. That list keeps growing, doesn't it?
It sure does.
You just always feel like you have to be doing something, but that's not the case, because I feel like as we got into this year, we really understood that, hey, we need time for ourselves. Like we need time together for ourselves. We need time individually for ourselves as well to keep that healthy work-life balance going. And going into this year, we've really said, like, got to a certain time in the day, we've gone, that's enough today. No more, close down that inbox.
Yeah.
Close down Facebook or whatever. Just, detach yourself, disconnect, and, have a bit of time for yourself and do some stuff you enjoy, because I'm a big gamer. I like playing games. So does Amanda. But over the time we were traveling, it just, it never really happened that something that I feel passionate about that I just wasn't doing. And I mean, that's part of me, and getting back to doing that, I really enjoyed it. So it's been great just to strike up that balance again.
Yeah, it has been really great. And I think that work-life balance has been really beneficial for our relationship as well. Like we're making time to have date nights. We're making time we don't keep our phones in the bedroom anymore. And that's been really positive. Not just, it's just been a positive change. We'll leave it at that.
I don't know what you're trying to insinuate by that. Maybe we should move on.
Yep. So I think like what helps with our balance in our relationship is setting those boundaries, saying like, this is lunchtime and we come downstairs and we don't look at our phones, or if we do, we're playing Hearthstone, because the couple that games together stays together. I just made that up.
Did you? I don't think you did. I think that's out there.
Is it out there? It's true though, in our case.
Make the t-shirts.
Yep. So like we make sure that over lunchtime we don't talk about work. And once a certain time comes around, that's it. No more work talk.
Yeah, and we try and get out for a walk as well. Every day we have the Fitbits, and we're trying to hit those daily steps. And usually it's a good place to have a work and life meeting, because we do a lot of talking about work. We brainstorm just while out getting some fresh air, and yeah, it's good. It feels good. You definitely feel way more relaxed when you come back to the office and fire up the computer again. But I feel like that's been a big aspect of our life as well. It's just something we've kind of recently focused on doing as well, because it's important to get out there, stretch your legs, especially when you're sitting down all day. It's not healthy. It's not good for you. Gotta get out there, get that blood flowing.
As they say. I think one thing that helps us transition from being the workers to being a couple is touching each other, and just making physical contact. Sorry, that was really awkward. And just making physical contact. It's knowing that you're right beside your boyfriend is really nice. And the physical touch always helps.
Okay, I can definitely get on board with this.
Yeah. So if we had any advice from other couples who were entrepreneurs, I think that we would definitely tell them, keep your boundaries in place, have your cutoff times from work so that you do stop working, because it's important to stop working or else you'll be working all the time.
Yeah, you've definitely got to do that, and you've got to have time and place for yourself. You got to
alone time.
It's so important, especially when you are spending so much time together, because you spend a lot of time in the room with one person. Of course, little things might start irritating you, but that is the norm. That's why it's vitally important to make time for yourself, each other as well, separate from your work. And it is difficult to maybe find that perfect balance, but it's all about just little tweaks here and there, and you'll definitely feel the benefits for doing it. And I think that's, like we said, I mean, this year has been our big focus on doing that, and we have reaped the benefits, not just in life but in work. It's just all flows so much better, everything feels so much better, and when you're feeling good, your partner's feeling good, and you're just bouncing that positive energy off each other, and you're just putting that into everything you do as well. It just feels so good. and you get results from that when there's just that much energy flowing around, and it feels good personally as well. I mean, it's been a pleasure to work with Amanda. And one thing actually, just to finish up on, is maybe where I fall short in some things. Amanda is really strong in certain areas, and we've kind of really like learning from each other, from one's strengths to one's weaknesses, and that's really invigorating as well. Just being able to kind of pull up some of your skills in certain areas where maybe you were lacking a bit, and then having your partner show you other techniques and ways to improve. And I've myself personally have noticed some big improvements in certain aspects of work I do as well. So for me, that's been a real plus.
I agree. Thom said it all. So thanks very much, Amy, for having us on your show.
Yeah, thanks, Amy.
Bye.
Bye.
Hi everyone, my name is Megan.
And I'm Justin.
And I'm the owner of Hunt Family Design. I do graphic design and illustration.
And I work for an information technology company.
So we're doing this video for Amy as a special Valentine's Day video, and she's given us a set of questions. So let's get started with the first one.
All right, how long have we been together?
We've been together for 9.5 years.
That is correct.
If you hear any noises in the background, it's just our cats being cats. So the next question is, how did you help each other with the transition to being self-employed?
Well, unfortunately, I am not yet self-employed.
Yeah, well, you're an honorary employee of my business.
Yes.
As my husband. But originally, I was obviously doing the 9-to-5 thing when I first started, like most entrepreneurs. So I worked a few different jobs all at the same time and switched to working for myself full-time. One of the first issues that I kind of encountered was with setting boundaries in general, mostly with scheduling my time. So when the first while I was working, from the time I woke up until the time we went to bed, and it was less than ideal.
Right. She was working when I left for work, and she was working when I got home from work about 10 hours later.
Yeah. So that was definitely a challenge. Another one that I really struggled with in the beginning was I was used to being able to do all of the stuff around the house, all the cooking, the cleaning, and taking care of everything. And Justin really kind of had to step up and help with that. So
I have recently been learning how to cook, I can help out with that.
And he's been doing a really good job. So that is definitely something that was a big transition for us in our relationship, or just in life in general, really. So how did we help each other with those challenges? Well, I guess by realizing that we can't do it all the time, kind of giving each other slack and breaks, when we need to, and understanding that, if he couldn't get around to something or I couldn't get around to something, because he just finished with school. So we went through
kind of a reversed role where I was either constantly working or doing some sort of school project. So for about 3 years, Megan had to help pick up the slack around the house, and now we've kind of just traded off, where I try to be in the supporting role now, and
just a nice little flip-flop.
Yeah.
So another way that we help each other is, I think sometimes Justin has to remind me that I need to stop working some days.
You gotta come to bed eventually.
I do eventually have to come to bed. This podcast aren't going to listen to themselves at night.
Nope.
What do you do that helps balance your workload and your relationship? Scheduling is probably a big one for me. Maintaining a specific schedule. I just work his hours. So I start work whenever he leaves for work, and I stop a little bit before he comes home so I can make dinner every day. And I try to have at least a day and a half off a week. I shoot for 2, but being realistic as an entrepreneur, you can't always have 2 days. But you can try.
Yeah, and working in technology, I also tend to bring home a lot of work without intending to. And since we've made this move, I've tried to make sure that my meetings aren't scheduled on my days that are supposed to be off. and I try to keep my laptop put away and not bring my work out unless it's one of the unfortunate weeks where I'm on call and can't really do anything about it on those weeks.
You can't really do anything about that. And then I think another one of the things that we do for boundaries is we can't do it every week, but we do try to have, a couple of days a week after work where we don't sit and watch TV all night, which is easy to do, I know, or just play on our phones in bed or something. I mean, we try to make sure that we play some video games together or work on some projects together, try to learn new things together because...
And try to learn something new that's something that we just want to learn how to do, not something that is just going to be used for the business.
Well, yeah.
But trying to have fun.
Yeah. So we try to learn new skills and plan things out, and sometimes we'll just sit and talk, but it's nice to kind of just disconnect from things. How do you transition from being co-workers to a married couple? Well, I don't know there really is ever a specific transition from working to being married. It's kind of constant. We still talk about, what's going on with work and things like that, even in our off time, because it is a big part of, who we are and what we're doing and what we're working toward for our future. I guess the only real difference would be we're not actually working.
Yeah. And try not to stress about things from work.
Yeah.
I mean, talking about, I'm going to nail this presentation, or look at this awesome thing I made is a lot different from, oh God, how am I going to meet this deadline?
So do we have any tips for any other entrepreneur couples?
I would say one of the most important things that you can do is to be supportive of the person that you're with. Whether or not it's running your own business or working for another company, there's always going to be deadlines that come up, things that have to be done at certain times, and sometimes work's going to have to come before what you want to do. And you have to understand that it's not something personal against you, and just try to be supportive and help get through it.
Yeah. And on top of that, I would say to definitely try to make time for each other. It's easy to kind of get caught up in everything that you're doing, but you still need to, just make sure that you're connecting with each other and that, you can put the phone down or turn the TV off or put that computer down in my case and actually just, say, hey, how are you doing? And, do you want to do this thing together? Time together really is important.
And make sure to take time to do something fun.
Well, yeah.
You can't work all the time.
Definitely not. Since I started working for myself, we've definitely found a lot more time to play video games. The family that slays together stays together, right?
As a take on another clip you will see in this.
Yeah. So I guess that's it, everybody. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful day.
Hi, I'm Miranda Nahmias, and this is my husband, Brent Nahmias. And we've been together for 7.5 years. I know that's really specific. I count my relationship time like a 7.5-year-old. And we together run my business, Miranda Nahmias and Company. And we do digital marketing for female online service providers. We do done-for-you service packages, and I also help beginner online service providers start their businesses and find clients. All right, so Amy gave us a couple of questions to answer for you guys since we kind of work together, and this is a Valentine's Day issue. So I'm super excited to be here with my husband and talk about how we run the business together. So the first question from Amy is, how did you help each other with the transition to self-employed entrepreneurs?
So for us, it was a little different. Miranda had started the business and it was just her, but she needed more time and she couldn't afford to hire anyone. So I was offering over and over to help her for free. Hey, let me just get in your email, just like do your email so you don't get stuck in there for an hour every day. And eventually she relented, but she insisted that she paid me, but she couldn't pay me for real. So we took half of minimum wage and put it towards my contribution towards the rent at the time.
This is before we were married.
Before we were married. It ended up working out. but it was definitely a weird way to start. What are some challenges that you face when it comes to scheduling your business and home life? How did you help one another with those challenges?
So I guess that this isn't really a challenge, but something that's different for us, I feel like, than normal married couples is Brent is actually the one who does a lot of the chores around the house. Like he does the dishes and the laundry and the vacuuming and all of that stuff because I guess he just says like my time is more valuable. So like the more time I spend actually doing stuff in the business overall, it's better that I spend my time there where we can actually make money. Whereas his time, he has a little bit more free time than I do, and he can do some of the household tasks for us. So that situation really works for us, but I feel like it's not for every couple because the balance is kind of weird, but I really appreciate all the things that he does around the house. It's super helpful. So the next question for Brent is, what do you do that helps balance your workload and relationship?
So between school and the business, neither of us have a ton of time, and we basically just have to schedule time that is 100% not going to be work time. Sometimes we'll get a massage every once in a while, or we'll have a night where we're a date night, or even a stay home kind of date night, and that is 100% no work unless our project manager slacks us and says everything is on fire, which usually does not happen. Thank you. So that's the only way to keep us sane from just working all day, every day.
Yeah.
So how do you transition from coworkers to being a married couple?
So I feel like there isn't really a transition where like at the end of the day we like transform back into our married couple selves. I would say that we're just a married couple, and sometimes we're working and sometimes we're not. And we don't always work the same hours. Like he said, he's in school some of the time, getting his master's. So we don't always work the same hours. So there isn't really a clear-cut transition at the end of the day or at the end of the week or anything like that. But I would say that something that does like differ between our regular married couple relationship and when we're working is when it comes to work, I'm more of the person who's in charge since I'm the one who started the business and it's technically my business. So there are certain decisions that I'll make and I'm kind of the one running things. Whereas in our relationship as a married couple, it's more like, we're equal partners and we're making all the decisions together about like house stuff and finances and all that stuff. So, I mean, sometimes it is weird because it's like in one aspect I'm the boss and then the other one I'm not. So sometimes it's like, it's hard to be like, oh yeah, I'm not the boss about this. We have to be more equal. And I feel like you sometimes have the same thing, Brent, where like you have a really strong opinion and sometimes it can be hard to like put that aside and be like, she's the boss, she gets to make the final decision.
You have to make sure that any arguments you have with either house stuff or work stuff doesn't cross over to the other, because
that's
the
really
very few times we've allowed that to happen, it's just, it doesn't go well.
Yeah, no, I would totally agree with that. And we do our best too to like when we're having married couple time, like the date nights that Brent talked about, not to talk about work. And, when we're out at a restaurant, we try to talk about other things and not focus on work so much. So that I think that helps us to keep kind of that married couple side a little bit separate. But I think that the collaboration of a marriage actually helps us be better coworkers. So I wouldn't say that we're trying to split it up very much. I like the fact that we're married and we're working together, but there are certain things that are separate. So finally, Brent, do you have any tips for other entrepreneur couples?
All right, the first thing is definitely that it's not for everyone, especially because Miranda's personality in the business and outside the business is slightly different. And when I started doing more and more work for the business, that wasn't just like, yeah, make sure there's no important emails, like stuff that was actually client work or other important stuff. She's definitely not bossy at all in outside of work, but she had to be sometimes inside of work, because otherwise I'd be, yeah, just like not take it seriously enough. She's like, no, I'm serious. I'm the boss here. Like, okay, I'm going to do it the way you want it to. Whoever's coming in second, if that's the way it was set up like us, that person needs to find their own niche in the business to have control over. It makes everything a little bit more rewarding on their side when their like own little kingdom of the business is being successful and they have a little bit more control over it. And it's just good to take that part off of the main person's plate. And then it's just, it's more of two different roles instead of just, one person is running the business and, oh yeah, their husband or wife is here and they do some stuff and it's not clear what. So I think that makes everything a little bit better. Do you have any?
Yeah, no, I agree. Totally. I think it's nice that you have like a really set role in the business and take responsibility over one clear cut area. The other thing, I guess we already kind of touched on a little bit, but sometimes it's hard for us to figure out like who should make certain decisions, or when we're talking about more of like our long-term plans for the business. And especially now that he's getting a lot more involved in the business, we have to remember that like, I still am the boss. We have to remember. Somebody has to remember that.
Somebody has to.
That I'm still the boss. And so even though like we are going more and more towards a joint ownership of the business, I think it's important that, and this is the same thing for any type of partnership in a business, where somebody needs to have like 51% of the business. It shouldn't be split 50-50, because there are going to be times when you disagree, or like there's a really important decision that needs to be made, and somebody, whoever it is, needs to be in charge so that you don't just sit in a stalemate or feel like you're constantly arguing about stuff. There needs to be somebody where both people recognize that at the end of the day, they have the final say to make those important decisions. And that's the person who's like, got a little bit more of a say in business type stuff.
It definitely helped that when the business started, I knew very little. And so even now, like only recently have I started to come up with ideas that are outside of my little corner that have been positive. Before, I'd come with ideas, and her and our project manager would just be, yeah, that's nice. Be quiet in the corner. Go back to where you belong. So it takes a lot of time to get to that point.
But I think it's important too, like if you're in a marriage, to have open communication about what type of a role you do want to have in the business. Because I remember when we were getting married, I'm like, how, like, do you see yourself working on the business full time one day? Do you really want to get involved with this, or do you want you have your own like career goals outside of the business? And because maybe working for me isn't Brent's life goal, like, or it might not be the life goal of whoever. So keeping communication open, and also leaving it open as far as like what your ultimate role in the business will look like. You started out just answering emails, but over time you've taken on more and more. And I like that we've been able to kind of have you grow into the business more, and you have like a much bigger role now, and it's kind of fun.
Yeah, it's definitely gotten me more invested in it now that as I've picked up more and more of the core responsibilities as well.
And I think that's important, so you can like take ownership of those things that you have come up with or that you've done in the business, and so you feel less like my husband and more like a true partner of the business. Yeah. Okay, awesome. I really enjoyed answering these questions for Amy, and happy Valentine's Day, everybody. There, he's barely in it. He really wants to be in the video.
Hi, my name's Leilani Wells, and
my name is Massimo Della Guardia.
And we are a couple that obviously we have all this love stuff in the background. It's Valentine's Day that we're celebrating this week, and we do a lot of video content. So I decorated the set where it looks great for all of his videos, right?
Yes. Yes, it does.
But anyway, my name again is Leilani. I'm a business and mindset coach, and I help people as well with their social media, and basically an entrepreneur. You know, I have many projects going on, but those are the main ones. And
my name is Massimo Della Guardia. I too am an every time I get on camera, this is how I get. I'm an entrepreneur, have been for a while, and I specialize in online marketing, and also ICOs and cryptocurrencies, fundamental research, and as of lately, even technical analysis, charts and stuff like that. And I've been doing this pretty much my entire life, entrepreneurship, that is.
He's held only one job for like 2 weeks, and the rest has been...
When I was 17,
yeah.
as a ride operator at the Seattle Center. So that was my only job.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. I'm learning new things about him too. We were a ride operator.
Right. Now I have a new job, and it's to cater to her. So.
Don't ever believe what he says. Okay. So, so you have some questions for us. Let's see. So how long have you been together? Well, from the looks of our lives, we have a blended family already and blended businesses. So you'd think we've been together for
forever.
Forever.
It's been a little over a year.
How long exactly?
I think 16 months.
Mm.
I hope I got it right.
Yeah. A little over a year and a half. So yeah. So okay. So tell us about who we are, what we do. So we shared that with you guys, and basically too, going back to that for a second, we love to work with people. So I do a lot of video and a lot of live video, and he does a lot of video and editing and also coaching. So that's all of what we do. And going back to that, let's see, next question that you gave us is, how do you help each other, or how did you help each other when you transitioned to self-employed entrepreneurs? Which I found to be a really cool question, because both of us, when we met each other, we were both entrepreneurs, but you were full-time, right?
Yeah.
And so you really helped me, because I was not full-time. I was doing 2 businesses and a job. Just the wrong businesses, right?
Right.
What was your thoughts on that? Like,
well, I mean, instantly I was already, taken by her, and at the time I just pretty much wanted to make her situation better, because I felt that she had rare qualities that were complementary to who I am, So I did all I could to pretty much, give her that push to where she can build her momentum on her own, and run her own online business, which I helped establish.
Yes, yes.
I'm joking.
No, he did. Well, it was really great, because he shared, when we went on our first date, he shared the online marketing business he was doing at the time with me, and it just made so much sense to me. And he shared it with me because I couldn't even afford to pay for a babysitter to go on our date, and he had to pay the babysitter.
This is after the initial skepticism, by the way. Wasn't first she thought I was lying.
Well, I mean, he said he made, like what, 40 grand that month or something
Right,
outlandish, and I was like, okay, but it was true, and and I started making a similar income thanks to him, and now we help a lot more people. So I guess that income that he helped me establish through a better business opportunity opened up more doors for me to be a full-time entrepreneur, which I'm really grateful for. So yeah, okay, let's see what the next question is. Let's see. This is going to be a fun one. What are some challenges that you face when it comes to scheduling your business and home life, and how do you help one another with those challenges? Well, first of all, when scheduling your business home life, I schedule everything. I will just say, I'm the scheduler. There's no help on this end from the scheduling.
I couldn't probably find my own socks if it wasn't for her. She manages my sock drawers.
But so I do all the scheduling, and basically, it's really important to us, so that we stay on task, that we run our lives through our calendar. We have children that we're managing, as well as our lives, and then our businesses, so we have to stay on the calendar. But how we help each other with the challenges, I'd say.
Well, I think, what was the question?
How do we help each other what are some challenges that you face when it comes to scheduling your business and your home life? Mm-hmm. So that's the first part of the question, right? Okay. So we have to schedule, as a unit, we're scheduling with the kids. What else are we scheduling? He does all the cooking for the most part, which is really nice. I like that.
Right.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
But I don't know. I think we just really follow our calendar, and our kids, when they come home from school, they literally empty their backpacks. They come to me and they go, "Here you go, Mom. This is what we need to do at school," and I put it in the calendar. I mean, it's really important as an entrepreneur and a couple.
By the way, we don't have kids together.
Mm-hmm. We have kids we're raising.
She has a son. I have a daughter, and we're like a mini Brady Bunch.
Yeah. Yes. So there's that. And then how do you help one another with those challenges that come up? Because there are challenges. Sometimes, we get a call and that we feel we have to take, for instance, and then it throws us off what we had to do in that slot, right?
Right.
I mean, I think most of the challenges come from being passionate about businesses that we do, and when you feel strongly about something, or I feel strongly about it,
and the people that we end up crossing paths with in any business usually are understanding. So if we do have some challenges that come along, they can understand that we're human, and we just go on. Matter of fact, you had a call like that yesterday.
Mm-hmm. Right, because he had a flight.
Actually, I was late.
He was late. I was calling because he had to take a last-minute flight, and so he missed an appointment with the client. And I just gave them a call and apologized and let them know what happened.
An hour later,
yeah. And they were completely understanding. I mean, people, are understanding if you're honest and authentic with them. But with challenges that we come across together, because if you're going to be in a business and a relationship together, you're going to butt heads. Right. You're going to butt, especially if you're passionate about your business.
And I think people understand too from their own life experiences. If they have kids and they know that we have kids, they can put two and two together. So.
I think the challenges are more with us than other people. We're pretty good with our customers and our clients. So you just got to have, I think, patience and understanding, and not take anything home. Like if you have something that you feel strongly about in business, and then later on you take it and involve it in your relationship. That's not something that you should be doing. If you're in business and you have a strong opinion and you share that with your business partner, that's also your spouse or your partner, if there's some passion behind it or some fire, then you should just be grateful because you're in business with the right person. If they don't have passion or fire and they're worried about just your feelings in that moment, then they're not really, I think, that passionate about their business. I want to be in a partnership with somebody who will tell me, no, I feel strongly about this, and this is why, right, babe? Like,
right.
Yeah. So, and I talk a lot, and he doesn't, obviously. So.
No, I talk when it's needed, when it's relevant.
We have our roles. Yeah. Oh, okay. I'm irrelevant. Okay. So let's see what the next question is. What do you do that helps you balance your workload and relationship?
I think that things just take their natural course, and we know what we're supposed to do, and we fall in line with that role. For the most part, that's how it works, right? Because you have some rare qualities that I don't, and sometimes you have to take.
Let me read you that question. I don't think you're understanding. What do you do that helps you balance your workload and relationship? Like, do you take me out on dates?
Well, we're
all business.
We're a bit busy all the time. Yeah. That's why. But yeah, when I can,
This is how we balance. I drop hints like this. I make backdrops like this. Like, hey, it's Valentine's.
No, that's not true. I think the way that we balance each other, hon, at least me, is I don't know. I'm gonna let you take this one. You kind of threw me off. I was gonna say something, but go ahead.
For me, I think the way we balance each other is we have these moments where we what's the word? We touch base, I guess, for lack of better way to put it. Like how people have business meetings when it's not someone you're with. You say, how are you feeling about this? How are you feeling about that? And for us, it's not in a boardroom. It could be like, well, he's shaving and I'm brushing my teeth. You know what I mean? But we're having these check-ins and seeing, maybe do we need a sitter so we can go out and spend some time together? So we're not just talking business, or are we excited about a project, and is that where we're at in our relationship, and we want to just stay on track with that. And we do a lot of traveling too, right? I mean,
we do a lot of traveling.
That gives us balance.
Yeah, but I think unconsciously we know that we're at a time in our life right now where we need to literally funnel in as much money, especially with the crypto currency environment and what's taken place. It's a rare time in history, and we're so focused on that being at the forefront of it all, because I think unconsciously we know if we establish that, then our future will look brighter.
Yeah.
I think that's what's going on. And she doesn't give me as much as a hard time of not taking her out on weekly dates. It's more like monthly.
Yeah.
Right now. But
seasons, right?
Right. And I think it's kind of like unspoken, and we're eventually okay with it. And because we know, even though we don't speak about it, we know that everything that we're doing today is going to just give us a bright and really restful future. We're able to kind of not nonchalantly do whatever we want.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think you made me realize, we're not just we're not just like a couple, that decided to get in business together. We're sure of each other, and so sorry about that. So yeah, we're sure of each other. And, if you are looking at being in business with someone you're dating, you have to know, is this a permanent relationship, right? If it's not a permanent relationship, then go into business for yourself. Because I know intuitively, where I always know what his intentions are. So, if we're not doing everything as a couple, I know that as we finish through, when we need to push through a project for a longer time or something, that eventually we're going to come on the other side. We're going to have, more stuff that we've provided for our family, more of a foundation. And then it's going to be extremely romantic in the future, because I know what our future looks like, so you got to kind of be sure of who you're partnered up with. Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Next question. Let's see. What types of boundaries do you have in place? What types of boundaries?
No boundaries here.
Punch him in the face. Going with my idea. No, I mean, I don't know what kind of boundaries. I don't think we need boundaries. I mean, we just naturally don't, do anything bad to each other.
Boundaries?
I guess. I mean, business partners and couples can set boundaries.
Sometimes you don't want me to step in the room.
I need, I mean, when I'm getting ready to go live or something, I guess my boundary is leave me the heck alone. I get those kids out of here and get it quiet. I don't know, but boundaries. Yeah. And a little stumped on that one. Let's see. How do you transition from coworkers to married couple? How do you transition? So we're not married yet. But I get the gist of the question is transitioning to coworkers. So that I find to be a really great question.
Well, the thing is, our life has just been full of excitement. We've been together for a year and a half, but it feels like a decade. We've been to so many places together.
Yeah.
So it's almost as though we're a unit and we do everything together, like we're one body. So I really don't know what to make of that.
Well,
question.
I think, so transitioning from coworkers to couple, like that whole, like, okay, are we business? Are we romantic? Are we this? Are we that? Like, I think that when you're married, I think a lot of people, when they think of marriage, they don't understand that marriage is a business. This is the way I think of marriage, right? And so if you're going to have a successful marriage, there's things that have to be discussed. You got to do check-ins. Things have to be scheduled. If there's kids involved, there's a lot going on. And so you even have to schedule in romance. Like, you can't just have romance just happen. Like, that's a lot of work when you start dating someone. You think you can keep it up for 50 years? You know what I mean? I don't think so. So I think, like, for us, it's easy to transition because we're passionate about the same thing. So an entrepreneurship type of conversation is actually romantic to us because we know that ties into travel, it ties into so many things. So it's actually, I think, a lot easier for us to be a couple and be business partners in that way.
No, it's the most important partnership, more than anything else.
Yes. Okay,
Right.
We have one last question. Let's see. Do you have any tips for other entrepreneur couples?
You go first.
Make sure you put your logo on camera.
Well, my tip would be to the men, of course, to, when Leilani tells me something like, honey, I don't feel right about this or something, I go with it. And it's really from experience, because when I didn't go with it, she was right. So even though I'm the logical, analytical one, I trust her intuition and I try to follow that intuition. And I think as men, if you're with a woman that's an entrepreneur and you two are running a business together, my greatest primary advice would be to follow her intuition, because sometimes men think things through logically and it makes sense to them, but energetically it's not making sense, and the woman can detect that a lot better than the man can. So my advice would be for if you're men to follow your woman's intuition. Pretty much that's my primary advice.
She's in tune with it.
Well, naturally, innately, most women are.
Yeah.
And I think if two couples are together as entrepreneurs, they have substance. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're patient with one another, first of all. They're not as egotistical. They're not both it's my way or the highway. You can't be an entrepreneurial couple that way. So I think any woman who's with her man and they're both entrepreneurs and they've been entrepreneurs for more than a year, running a business or several businesses, I think that woman, just my opinion, is an intuitive.
No, I agree. That's great advice, babe. So let's see. So I think that for me, having always being sure of where there's there's 2 or 3 things I want to share. So always being clear, like where your partner's intention, like what your partner's intention is, right? If you understand their intention is always to bring you more money, more success, more love, more compassion, all of that. Anything that they say that you initially take one way that could be, hurtful or anything like that, you'll just be able to work through and talk through and get past, because you'll be able to fix whatever comes up. You'll be solution oriented because you'll know what their intention is. Also, to have forgiveness if someone makes a mistake, because that could be you making a mistake in the business or relationship next. And you're going to want that person to have forgiveness for you when that happens, because when you move really fast as an entrepreneur, you're going to make mistakes, and you need your partner to be able to encourage you and tell you congratulations on your failure, not like, you screwed up, how dare you, this is our business or this is our life. You have to be able to encourage them to make more mistakes, because that's where the larger success comes. And so, yeah, you have to basically, just have a whole lot of love in all things that you do and share together. You just got to love each other and have fun. Everything should be really fun, I think, because this is the journey that most couples don't choose to take together. And when you go on that journey together, it's pretty special. Yeah. So that's all I got.